Welcome to Jeff and Jamion Winning in the Margins. A special thing we like to do, we call it active problem solving, where Jeff and Jamion, we get a chance to discuss problems that are going on around us and how we would like to attack it. Jeff, talk me through it a little bit.
Jamie, I live in Haverty Grace, Maryland. We're right off of 95. The Warriors are our local football team here. And I believe that year in and year out, we have exactly what we need to make our way into the state championship game every single year. And when I say that, there might be, 2, 3, 4 teams in that fight where you get to the semifinals and maybe you make it in. Maybe you're fighting for the state championship, but at the end of the day, we have the ability. But in the town that I'm in, we don't realize it. And I think this segment can do a good deal in helping this town understand the gifts that we have within. So historically, we haven't won a state championship in our town in anything in over 34 years. But we have the talent to win, and we need to close that gap. 2016, 2017, our Haverty Grace Warrior football team went to the state championship game and came up on the short end, but gave everything they had. We played championship ball that year, just came up short on the scoreboard. Maximized our potential is what I mean by that. Fast forward 5 years later, over the last 5 years, losing some more games, not making it as deep, then not making it into well, I guess everybody in Maryland at this point makes it, but going out early in the hunt. Fast forward to this year, we're 0-10. And the problem is the talent, the gifts that we have, the resources that we have to win are still there. But the gaps are big in regards to why we're not there. And yet, at the same time, they're small in what we need to do to get right back on track. 5 to 10 to maybe maximum 15 people in the weight room all last summer. Out of those 15, maybe 4 to 5 working hard. That leads to an 0-10 football team. What do you think stops a team that has the ability to go 8-0 and instead goes 0-8?
Well, I think the first thing is it's recognizing how hard it is to win a state championship. And I think oftentimes, whether it's a state championship or college basketball or NBA championship, people often think that it's easy. So, number one, it's what I would say to a client or player that I have is strip down from the word talent. I often feel like when we talk about the word talent, it's aligned with the words like potential. And the reality of it is the very best win today. And they win today consistently. So I kind of start there with it. Like what's needed is a mindset change from anything. I mean, going from good to great, going from 8-2 to 10-0. I mean, that mindset change is bigger than the English Channel. So I start there. If there's talent and it's unrealized, and I always put talent in quotations.
Yeah.
What is holding them back from realization? It's all about the work and the routine and the discipline. Building an environment, yes, is important, but also players having that individually and bringing that into the fold is also important. So I think, I kind of give you a lot there, but I think it's important because I think when you strip down from the word talent, we'll start there. It's just about how hard I work. There are a lot of losing organizations that say they have talent. How many losing organizations say they work hard?
Yeah.
And then define what the work is. So when you're talking about the weight room, you're defining a way of life component of how they work. That's one component of hard work. That's important. It shows an everyday routine to do something that you're not good at. There's great determination that's built in the weight room.
Right on.
That's
can be if it's run the right way.
If it's run the right way, and you're coming in there and attacking it. That's there's a lot of great stuff that's built there. And so that, to me, that's a description of working hard and what it looks like. Right. But if you worked hard in the weight room, but then didn't take it out to the field, it'd still be unrealized.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying there?
Absolutely.
So I kind of go there, and I just think that what you're talking about is trying to create a mindset change. And that's always a challenge to do. Winning, like when you win all the time, there's a mindset that's in the building. And when you lose it, it's often like you can't find it again. That's the danger. You look at, the Miami Hurricanes from our generation in the 90s, one of the most dominant teams ever. When you lose that mindset, it is hard to get it back because it's built on the work. It's not built on the talent.
Yeah.
It's built on the work.
And so if we are defining talent, we need to define it as tremendous effort. That's where our talent needs to rest, is in our effort. I was reading something this week and said that most people that end up quitting, throwing in the towel, are the ones that went into that endeavor thinking that it was going to be easy. The ones that made it through, and I believe this was like a special forces thing I was watching, or reading. I can't remember which one it was. But the ones that went in thinking that it was going to be a challenge, or believing that it was going to be a challenge, are the ones that had the most success. And so what I've heard you say there is that my town, Haverty Grace, has to go in knowing that in order to win a championship, it's going to be a challenge. And in order to take on that challenge, we've got to give a tremendous amount of effort. And so the ease of life, the not making it, and I'm using weight room in regards to the blood, sweat, and tears that it takes to put a town into the stands, to have a town worth having a parade for, to have a town that brings smiles and celebrations, and within the football team themselves, connections that will be lifelong, everlasting. We'll have 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, troubled times. We know we'll have people that will always have our back. The only way that occurs is with a tremendous amount of effort, willing to take on the challenge. Would you agree?
Yeah, I always say you win when you're ready to win. You don't just win when I want to win.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to win.
Yeah.
You win when you've put in the effort, the focus, and now you're ready to win. And that just gives you an opportunity to be there in the fourth quarter to make the right decision, to make the right play. That just puts you there. Everybody that's putting on that jersey, that's practicing every day, wants to win. So it's not really about wanting to win. People always say that team wanted to win more than the other. Well, that's not true. The other team was more ready to win in that moment, and that's often how victories are decided. But before you get to the victories, it's about being ready to win and earning that right every day. And that's the part where people, they like Kobe Bryant would say, I'm not negotiating with myself. He's not taking a day off because his self wants him to do that. But having that kind of motivation matters on a day-to-day basis.
Kobe Bryant, I think, is the right name to bring up in this time. There were times when folks talked about him as a bad leader, and what I know him as, after spending a lot of time studying why he came about to become what he became, was that he put a lot of time into what he was doing. And he was a bad leader because he had friction with his teammates. Why did he have friction with his teammates? Because he was pouring in a tremendous amount of time into developing that next level, that he wanted to win a championship.
Yeah, but you could say the same thing about Kobe or MJ or Peyton Manning in college. Those guys who are putting that much time in, they're holding everyone to a standard that they're at.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so when there is that separation, it's not that you're not liked, it's that we see something better. We see something more. We can be this. And so the ease of life creates nothing but chaos and problems. It's the hard work that brings the peace, that brings the togetherness, that brings the championship. And to my guys in Haverty Grace, a town I love with all my heart, to the teams in Haverty Grace, to the football team in Haverty Grace, we have it. We just have to give everything we have within. And when we do that and do that together, guys, we'll be in championships every single year. There's no doubt in my mind. But we're not going to do that until we're ready. And Coach Jamion put it best, and I might be paraphrasing you, but we'll be ready when we're ready. Let's get ready, fellas. Let's get ready.
I love it. And earn it. And I always say, like, have an earner spirit.
Describe that spirit to us. Describe it.
It's so interesting because, like, in Black culture, there's all this talk about being a hustler. Well, being a hustler is having an earner spirit. It's whatever needs to get done to make some money. We have to figure out a way to make some money. That's a hustler spirit in our culture, right? But then we turn around and we're working, or we're in sport. We don't want to have a hustler spirit. I think it's so much because you think these guys are so talented. It's like, no, the earners in all things have success.
In all things. I was just talking with someone about this yesterday. Kevin Hart. We want to listen to his jokes, listen to him be a comedian, and then try to imitate being a jokester. But we don't want to do what Kevin Hart's doing.
Yeah.
We don't. The hunger, the hustler, the hunger. That's what we want. That's what gets us to the next level. That's what we really crave.
Yep.
Within everyone that we're watching and imitating and idolizing, what we really want to imitate, and why we. In idolatry, I'm saying that tongue in cheek because it's the wrong thing to do. Just want to make that for the listener. Want to make that clear. If you want to idolize anything, idolize the hard work.
Yeah,
and become the hard work end of what we're doing. The touchdown celebration, go get one yourself by working hard.
Yeah, the idolization of celebrity is interesting because people only want to take the components that they idolize. They don't want to take the full body of work. Right. And the full body of work is what makes each of us. We've talked about in previous episodes, owning your story. That's the full body of work, what your story is, how it's described, how you attack it. So when I'm looking at Kobe Bryant or any of these greats, I'm looking at their full body of work, their strengths and their weaknesses, because I recognize that if I'm going to work like Kobe and then respond to my teammates like Kobe, my teammates may feel the same way about me they did about him.
Right.
So, you need to recognize all parts of that within trying. And then I need to decide, can I be that person? Can I handle that?
For sure. And while at the end of the day, there was a lot of evolving in all categories until the end of time. We're not going to be at 20. We're not going to be at 40 what we were at 20 unless we stop living life somewhere along the way. And there's a lot of folks that do that, but I'm not trying to be one of them.
Yeah. So I would say, again, kind of back to the subject matter, it all starts with the work. Relentless effort. You really think about this, like the work in the off season is what gives you relentless effort during season. It's only when you put so much into something that you relentlessly won't give it up. So what comes first is, and there are some people that they're relentless on everything they do. There are very few people, but the majority of us got to put everything in, got to put all our chips in every day to have relentless effort when the ball goes up, when there's opportunity to perform. So recognizing that if you want to play with relentless effort, you've got to put everything all in every single day. And the way I look at it, Jeff, I think it's powerful to know that I have the choice. Like every day I can push all my chips in or I can keep my chips.
Yeah.
But every day I'm pushing all my chips in, for me, it feels good to push them all in because I know that I'm getting better on the other side.
That's the hard part of the whole equation, Jamion, is I can push my chips in or I can hold them, and it is my choice. But one way is empty, and it's empty for the people that have that choice. And it's also when I push them all in, it's filling. And so when you have the kids that want to go to the beach every week, or you have the kids that just can't make it or don't want to make it, well, you know that they all do because you've seen those times when big, large masses of groups didn't want to make it, wanted to go to the beach. But as a team, chose to be disciplined, chose to create a habit of showing up and working hard in a way that was miserable for most the first couple of weeks until it wasn't anymore because they saw the progress. And when they experienced the progress and they experienced it together, and there was fire coming, there was a blaze that was just growing into a full-blown fire that was dancing, and it looked just like a dance. There were high fives and yelling, but laughter, but in a way that was going somewhere. That's where your heart is filled. And so, while at the end of the day we have the choice, it's hard because you can look the folks in the eye, to include myself, when I make the wrong choice, when I walk the wrong direction, when I don't stand up when I should have. And you know that there's an emptiness that you just don't have to have if you just step.
Yeah, I would say, you think about, we're kind of dancing around a sacrifice.
Yes.
But when you're disciplined, your sacrifice looks different. Like, the sacrifice looks different to a disciplined person than it does to an undisciplined person.
It looks like a concert.
Right. I enjoyed being a guy who was a 6 a.m. guy and 11 p.m. guy in the summer times. Like, I didn't view that as sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't really sacrifice to me. I wanted to do that. Now, I don't know if I tricked myself into believing I wanted to do that or what, but I wanted to do that. And so I think as you grow in your discipline, and another thing, as you grow in your discipline, your sacrifice looks different and your sacrifice looks less. It doesn't mean that, again, if you're disciplined, it doesn't mean that you can't work out 5 days a week and still go to the beach. I can go to the beach now and run on the beach for a mile, and I'm still getting better at some things. Like, right. That's what I mean. I think there's a way to be at your best if you're just disciplined with your approach.
Well, it's not almost. When you are disciplined and you are sacrificing, it's hard not to work out when that's what you're supposed to do. It's hard not to catch football passes or work on our blocking schemes or positions. It's miserable going to bed knowing you went to bed empty.
Yeah.
It's amazing, man, this conversation. The 6 a.m. and the 11 p.m., you would have been miserable if that's what you weren't doing. Right. We were meant to work hard. We were put on this earth to work hard. We were put on this earth to give our role everything we have. And when we're playing it with less than what we have the ability to play with, it's just an empty feeling.
Yeah, and it's all about, again, I think the origin of things are really important. I always feel like I'm on this journey to be everything that God intended me to be. And I don't know if that was, when I was a kid, I didn't know if that was an NBA player, NFL player. I didn't. One thing for me, Jeff, so you know this, I don't give myself a goal or an expectation. I never have. I've always just said, I'm just going to try to do this every single day and see what happens.
Right on.
Right. Because you don't know what can happen. Right. So, like, people talk about like glass ceilings. I don't even understand what any of that means. Like there is no boundary for me if I can find a way to become the best press I can be. So recognizing that and recognizing what you need to do to be able to be that person, that's the challenge of excellence.
It's just to the best of our ability from beginning to end.
Whatever.
I'm going to come back to my Haverty Grace Warrior squad. Guys, we're not 1A. We're not a small school. We're not a small, incapable town. We're not bored. We don't feel like it. We're not a we can't make it type of heart when we're playing our game. We only have one option. We can make it because we're a strong town. We're built with character. We have diversity all over our town. And with our town, we've got linemen every year. We've got receivers. We've got quarterbacks. We've got linebackers. We've got safeties. We've got cornerbacks. We have a history of putting guys into college. And we need to start believing that year in and year out. Year in and year out. We're not a team that's meant to be in and out of the playoffs. We're a team that's meant to have a tradition that 10 years from now, folks on the other side of the state say Haverty Grace, Haverty Grace, Haverty Grace, because Haverty Grace is in the hunt every single year. And fellas, we've got to put in that hard work because that's what we're capable of. We've got to put in that hard work because that's what we were put here on earth for. We've got to put in that hard work because we've got coaches that believe in us, that are giving everything they have to make us the best. When we pick up the phone and we say, hey, you're going to be at practice, we're not doing it because we don't believe in you. We believe there's something special in you. We're doing it because we're meant to go through the season on fire, as strong as we can possibly be. We had numerous injuries this year because we didn't make it to the weight room. We didn't train. We didn't speed train. We don't want you to get hurt. We want you to deliver excellence on the football field. We want you to become everything that you're capable of being. And so just know when you get that phone call, it's not to annoy you. It's to say, hey, you got something special in you. Let's give everything we have. Come and give your very best effort. You were meant to work hard, and you got folks that are going to do it with you. Let's change, guys. It's time. Coach Jamion, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for helping us, man, because this town, it has something special, and it's time for change, and I think you helped us out today.
I love it. I look forward to seeing the success in the future.
Thank you, man.